Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Carcino. Once again, finna run down the most underrated movies of 2012. And to the boxing fans, be patient. I will take care of that too. Don't worry, I will get us all the way back on track boxing wise. Now, let's go through the most underrated top 10. Number 10, Battleship. Why y'all hate this movie? I mean, what is there to hate? It's such a great concept, I thought. Well, originality wise, that I said, well, this is interesting. Most of it is based on true fact, and it shows you they did it quite intelligently how to deal with the aliens. I thought this was an original plot, pretty good story. The acting so-so, but I didn't hate Rihanna as much as I saw the movie. Once I saw the previews, I said, I can't see this. Then I went and saw it. I enjoyed myself immensely watching this film. And number 9, Premium Rush. This movie isn't that bad. It just went from a very serious movie, then it had a lot of comedy in it. I thought it was intelligently done. Original fact of we're going to use bicycles instead of cars. I thought that was more interesting in this plot in this movie, and Michael Shannon did a great job. I just think they kind of like made it a little too comically at the end, and I think it should have kept the tension that it had in the beginning. But overall, Premium Rush is a good movie. It was very underrated. And number 8 is For a Good Time Called blank, but this movie is a great movie. I think no one saw it. It just came, I think, to DVD, but this is a classically good movie about two girls who were enemies of each other, and then they couldn't get jobs. One girl did, and then they end up hooking up a year later and forming a phone sex operation and making their own money, and they were making big money, and it ended up being a pretty good movie. I didn't think I would enjoy it, but it's pretty interesting. Shoot, I might open up a phone sex line. I know some people who could probably do the phones. Number 7 is Lawless. Lawless with Tom Hardy. You got Shia LaBeouf. You got an all-star cast here. You got Gary Oldman. This is a greatly performance-wise movie, but the story is actually true. So it's inspired by a true story, and they're going on a level of which they want to portray the olden days when liquor was illegal. And moonshine, which is still right now today, moonshining is still one of the profitable businesses of the South, and it's doing better than marijuana. Actually, moving shine is the way of the life for the people in the bayou areas. And this shows about what happens when the government wants to come in and try to tax these guys, the city guys, and they're not going to bow down to paying some bureaucratic guys from the city. So, very good movie. Do check it out. And number 6 is Cabin in the Woods. Josh Whedon, from Avengers, and he just nailed this one out of the park. I think this is a better ending, or whether for Cabin in the Woods than it was for Avengers. He really nailed this one down to a T, and I was very happy to see a horror movie mixed in with comedy, but done intelligently. Every character had some type of meaning or plot to this movie, and I just wasn't not once entertained by this movie. It all made sense in the end, and it had everything perfectly. It could be classified as just an entertaining movie and not a horror movie. And number 5 is Prometheus. Prometheus, the movie that has people going, what did I just see? Is this aliens? What is it? And that's exactly what the movie is. The movie is a what if. I mean, where do we come from? The whole big movie should have been called Where. Where did we come from? Where are the guys? Is the whole movie's one big question mark? But it's entertaining. Original concept of thought. It ties into religion. It ties into our existence of where do we come from, and it asks the questions. And people who are so intrigued to know about all these details are so driven to go out into space 2 years to try to discover land in an area where they think the gods come from. I mean, it's a very good movie. It's entertaining. I don't understand what people's problem is trying to follow this plot. And it's just a part of what's going to be a trilogy. I don't understand why people can't understand the first one. The next one will probably explain a lot more. I think you've just probably been deluded from watching too many crappy movies that take 16 hours to try to explain something. Number 4 is Wanderlust. This movie's funny. What I don't understand. You go to the movies to see a comedy. It's supposed to make you laugh. This movie's funny. If you watch Wanderlust and not find it entertaining or funny, or you don't laugh, then you gotta be nuts. I mean, I'm telling you, this movie is probably Paul Rudd's funniest movie he's been in a while. And then you got Jennifer Aniston. She was hilarious. And then the guy she's currently dating now. And what happened is these guys from New York, or a couple from New York, one of them lose their job, so they got to go and look for work because they can't afford to live in New York anymore. And he wanted to stay with his rich brother, but his rich brother is too obnoxious. So they end up staying at this it's like a what do you call those cult places where everyone can sleep with everyone, and it's just no money isn't an issue. And they stay on this land with these people own, and they end up becoming part of the community and stay there. They're having so much fun. Everybody's smoking weed, and it's a funny movie. And number 3, Savages. Savages is a great movie. I mean, Oliver Stone wrote man, you couldn't get better character detail, and Taylor Hitch finally showed that they found a role he could act in, and his acting wouldn't be just considered dopey. He was a badass in this, and that's what he needed to be. Somebody that just didn't give a damn. And it's about 2 weed growers who just happen to tap into the market of being weed growers, and they're making millions on top of millions of dollars. And the Mexican cartel wants to cut them in, and they don't want the Mexican cartel to come in for any of it. So they try to screw them and get out of town, and things don't go that way when they kidnap their girlfriend, and they're both sleeping with the same girl. It's really stupid, that part is. But I could see that happening in a weed world. Which brings us to number 2, Total Recall. People gonna say, I hated Total Recall. What in the world did you hate about Total Recall except for it wasn't the Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall? They just had some remembrance to the first one with the title, the names. I felt they should have went a whole different way with the names. I would have loved to see my guy do it, but this is a good movie. It really is. And the creativity it took into making the soldiers, the characters, the telephone in the hand, all the digital things that they came up with, the visual look of these ships, the way they operate, the machines, the way the land and the town looks, everything in this movie was overlooked. And I said, wow, they have really missed something. If you're going to watch Total Recall and see all the digital effects they put into it, the movie wasn't stupid. The only thing is just that it didn't connect to the first one like you probably thought going into this movie. You're waiting to see Quato and all the twists. It twists like the original, but it doesn't have the same effect because they changed certain things that they shouldn't have changed if you were going to go in that direction. But definitely an underrated movie. And the number 1 underrated movie of 2012 is Seven Psychopaths. This movie is wittily funny all the way around, with interesting stories, everything around the globe that made this movie a classic. I mean, a complete classic. Seven Psychopaths, and I mean, this is, you can't go anything with Sam. When you get Sam in there, you know you're gonna have a great movie. And you got Christopher Walken playing his usual role, and when I mean Sam Rockwell. Rockwell just knocks this out the park. And the stories are just so, you're sucked into every story you hear in here. And the story is about Colin Farrell's character. He wants to write this book called The Seven Psychopaths, right? It's a movie that he wants to write. And he goes about asking, he wants 7 stories from like 7 different psychopaths. You know, like all these stories. So it's like psychopath number 1, 2. He's going down each story, and he wants to make this into a film. And in the meantime, there's a dog kidnapping scam when that goes along where they kidnap dogs, then they return them and then accept the rewards. So then the wrong dog gets kidnapped, and then Woody Harrelson is a mob guy, and he's connected, and he really loves his dog to the death. So he's ready to kill for that dog. So if anybody bring that dog back to him now, they're gonna get killed. So that's in the middle of it too. #1 underrated movie of 2012, Seven Psychopaths.